Hola, hola, hello. Can you hear me? Yes. ¿En el fondo se me oye bien? Sí, de verdad. Gracias. Well, I am Didac. I am entrepreneur. And also I'm running the entrepreneurial program of Banco Sabadell, the startup. And today is a pleasure and an honor to be here and try to moderate this panel. The first question I would like to ask you is a little bit of your background and about your personal background and about your fund. Size, stage, and which kind of companies are you looking for?
Not sure it works. Yeah, okay. Now it
Ladies
works.
first.
Thank you. So I'm Sofia from Index Ventures. So it's an international multi-stage venture capital firm based in London, San Francisco, and Geneva. So we do focus on on technology and life science, two different funds. And within the technology funds, we have two funds, a venture fund and a growth fund. And the idea behind is to be able to back a company across all the investment cycle and to support the companies until they get to the maximum outcome. So personally, I've been kind of jumping from internet companies like Google and Deezer, the music streaming companies, to investment structure like VC and private equity.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Yuval, I'm from Israel, and I'm a partner in Giza Venture Capital. Giza is one of the leading pioneer VC fund in Israel. We've been active for about 20 years doing venture investment in Israel. And now we moved to Spain as well. We are now in the verge of establishing a fund here by the name of SWANLAAB that will invest in Spanish companies.
SWANLAAB?
SWANLAAB, yeah.
Okay.
So I'm a partner in SWANLAAB as well. And SWANLAAB will be focusing on B2B companies, Spanish originated, that has high skills of innovation, technology mainly.
Okay, thank you.
I'm Tobias. I'm based in Berlin, and I'm a principal at BDMI. This is a corporate venture fund from a leading media and services conglomerate, which is global, but was founded in Germany many years ago. And we do Series A investments and some seed investments as well. We're big fans of Spain. I think this is the one country other than Germany where we did the most deals in Europe. And yeah, so I see a lot of familiar faces. I'm very pleased to be here. And let's see what we establish.
I'm Brian. I'm originally a startup. Three startups as a co-founder. I'm now a partner in DFJ ESPIRIT. We're a pan-European venture capital firm based out of London, 850 million euros in total under management, 100 million in the current fund. And we're primarily a Series A, Series B investor, sweet spot investing 2 to 5 million euros initially in a Series A round.
Okay, Brian, could you tell us about one particular trend that you are very interested in nowadays, and why?
I think one trend that we're very, very excited by is personalized medicine and bioinformatics generally. We think that's a very, very transformational opportunity where there will be very large companies built in a short space of time. It combines the best features of the healthcare market with informatics. So just a great market,
yes,
a great
that
opportunity.
Sounds exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah. One particular trend?
So one area we looked into and did research and also some investment is related to the media space, of course. Influencer marketing we see as an interesting emerging trend that is disrupting traditional media. The platforms are in place for massive reach to be built by individual people, and this brings a lot of problems with it. I mean, how do I monetize this reach? How do I create content for that audience? how do I find that audience? And we're seeing a lot of startups in the software as a service space that is building innovative solutions, and that's an area we looked at and found interesting and invested in.
Great. Yes.
One of the areas I'm very keen on is IoT, Internet of Things. And I think the connectivity that we have today and the ability to manage that data and eventually manipulate that data, I think it's very interesting. It can be in healthcare, like Brian said, but it can go elsewhere as well. Me personally think that healthcare is the place that we will see a lot of innovation coming out of that connectivity, the digital health era, but all in all, IoT is a combination of big data, analytics, and connectivity, and I think this is a trend to watch.
Yes, there's a lot of very interesting Spanish startups about Internet of Things.
Yeah.
Here in Madrid and in Barcelona as well.
So we are following them.
Yeah, sure.
So just, if I had just to name one, I would probably pick up the on-demand mobile services. So basically, the reasoning behind is to say we have the smartphone reach is reaching a tipping point where we all have smartphones, and that helped us to do a bunch of things. And so you have all these services like Just Eat or Deliveroo where they aggregate all this kind of really fragmented supply in one place. They create a new supply because people are empowered by the mobile so that you can create a larger suppliers basis. And it's very easy for the consumer because of the mobility. So we saw we had a very successful investment in that space.
Okay. Well, I would like to ask you one question. Would you? Could you give me an advice as a Spanish entrepreneur? Where should I raise funds? In Europe, or is better to go to Silicon Valley to raise big money and to sell my company to Google? At least to try.
No, I think I like the ambition level, right? And I think if we as entrepreneurs all start off with the idea that we have the potential to eventually sell to Google, then that's a good thing. I think that makes all the sense, and we should all aim for that. In the meantime, I think you have to make choices what kind of capital you need at what stage of your company, right? And you have to take into consideration also where you are, where your people are, where your main assets are. And I mean, just going to the US to find capital is probably not that easy as it might sound, right?
Or depending on the stage of the company.
Yeah.
Probably the company is more developed or is starting.
There's always exceptions to the rule. I think there must have been startups that went there and that got money and came back, but I don't know if it's the case for everyone, right? So I think you have to always prove development steps, right? And if you take capital from here, from a regional or local investor, I think you already know that this fund or this individual will not be able to continue funding you along the way. And so for this particular person, the reason he invests is because he's got faith that you can convince the next bigger individual or next bigger fund. And I think it makes perfect sense to raise always enough capital to prove your point and to get to the next development stage and then show a new story to the new guys and girls on the table. And so if you want to start the opposite way and go big and then trickle down, it might also bring a lot of problems. I don't know. But I don't see that there's a master recipe for this.
Okay. What do you think about it?
So I think it's firstly very difficult for a European company to raise capital in the US if it has not already raised capital in its home market, you know? So if you can't raise money in Spain or you can't raise money in Ireland, then why will you be able to raise money in the US? So I think usually a US investor will expect you to already have a local investor and to be, as they say, scrubbed down. The second thing is that most US investors aren't really very interested in investing in a European company unless they can deploy quite a large amount of capital it doesn't make sense for them to fly the Atlantic 6 times a year for an investment of $1 million. So if you want to raise capital in the US, you need to be a little bit later stage.
Okay.
You need to be looking to raise a somewhat larger sum of money.
So later stage and be located in US for raise money in, okay, great advice. What do you think?
I will add more about the operations side of things. Each startup has two main efforts. There is the outbound effort and the inbound effort. The outbound effort is the sales and marketing, and the inbound is the operation, research and development. I think if it's a Spanish company, the inbound effort, which is the research and development, should stay here, especially now when the cost of engineer, it's a very compelling one. So the operation and the research and development should stay here. On the other hand, the outbound effort, which should be as close as possible to the designated market. So if you're aiming for the US market, I think you should have US operation, especially sales and marketing, and the CEO usually should sit there.
Okay.
And then it will be easier to raise capital as well.
Yeah.
So when you take the stage again, especially in the beginning, you don't have much of the outbound effort, you have more of the inbound effort. As you grow up, the outbound effort goes much higher.
Okay.
So I think you should deploy your manpower, especially the CEO, which is the best salesperson usually,
Okay.
should be where the main market is.
Okay. My engineers are based in Argentina and in Spain. My sales office is in US with the CEO, but I'm living in Barcelona because it's closer to the football team. You know?
So since you know where to live.
Yeah.
I would agree definitely with all has been said. So to not just repeat, I would just gonna add one thing maybe, which is the industry focus. You have geographies where you have stronger industry. So if I take fashion, if you are in London or in Paris or in New York, that might make more sense for your team to share more knowledge with the other startups in that field. And of course, the investor usually have also deeper expertise. In Israel, you have security, which is amazing. In San Francisco, data, for example. So yeah, that might be the only thing I would add on top of what has been said.
Okay. As an investor, you spend a lot of time with hanging out with entrepreneurs. What are the main aspects that you think that are key aspects for an entrepreneur?
I think the two main aspects, first of all, is a must-win attitude. So entrepreneur must think that he can do better. I always say that the anthem of the entrepreneurship should be everything you can do, I can do better.
Okay.
And another thing is that you must accept failure. Entrepreneurs eventually fail, or even in the beginning they are failing and should learn out of that. So if you can possess those two abilities, first of all, this one must-win attitude, and the other, you can tolerate failure, I think you can be a good entrepreneur.
So, do it better and tolerate failure.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would say real passion for what they're building. So we see a lot of entrepreneurs just see an opportunity, and this is smart. But I think that to really be able to build what we call at Index an iconic company, which is a very big company, like $1 billion company, I think the entrepreneur has to be very passionate on what they do. And that often means that they are experts on what they do. Then the attitude, I think it's very important. At the end of the day, it's a partnership with the investors, especially if you want to build this kind of big companies. Or like if you take the latest exit we had, Just Eat and King, we spent 10, 7, 5 years with those entrepreneurs until the IPO. And the last one is ambition. Ambition. Really aim big to reach big.
Okay.
I don't think I could really add much to that, other than to say that you need this incredible combination of determination and sort of never say die attitude, but also the kind of wisdom to be able to say, this isn't working and I need to change something. So passion, guts, determination.
Guts.
Integrity as well is very, very important.
Okay.
Difficult to add to the list, but one thing, no matter what type of company you're building, one of the key aspects we found in retrospect that made the difference is salesmanship. And all good CEOs that we ever backed, they were great sales guys. And that's not
sales guys.
Yeah, and not just for their product or service, also in front of other investors. Because what we're doing here is a very subtle process. I mean, these are nuances, right? When you have a feeling for someone or not. And there are people that have that capacity to convince others and to get the spark across, and others that don't. And there might be differences in the technology, in the product, whatever. I bet you the sales guy, he will do better.
Yeah, so you need to sell your product, you need to sell to your investors, and to your team.
Yes, exactly. You need to sell to your team. They have to share your vision and follow you. And so I think it's very important.
Okay. Tobias, which is the best entrepreneur that you ever met, and why?
I haven't met that many. Tough to say. I mean, of course, it's easy to point to all the great examples that listed on NASDAQ or whatever. You can say they're great entrepreneurs, but it's not just them. It's also the guys that are trying to get something going here, which is small or haven't even succeeded yet, and just share their passion, their belief. We invested here in a small company called Trady. The guy is incredible. If you ever meet him, I mean, he's an entrepreneur.
Okay. And you?
Probably actually my business partner in my second business, a guy called Gary Maroney. And the thing that I really like about Gary, he's now building another business which is doing tremendously well. He pretty much never goes to community events. He never speaks on panels. He never really publicizes the company. All he cares about is winning customers, serving customers, growing revenue from customers, and he does that fantastically well. I think he's a superb entrepreneur.
Okay.
I can name a few, but the name dropping will not help. I think that what's in common in all the great entrepreneurs, I think that they are master of their domain. I think this will be very important stuff. So those guys knows every bits and bytes of the business they are handling. They know about the competition, they know about what is happening inside the operation they are handling. So if you're a master of your domain, I think this is a key virtue to be the most successful entrepreneur.
Okay.
It's hard to answer this question because there's
I know, it's hard.
there is a lot on. I just think maybe in just some key aspect of each entrepreneur. So I don't even know Imran from Business of Fashion, just his vision of the industry, product vision on Azmat from City Mapper, the wisdom of Roland from Morley. So each entrepreneur really inspires me something in particular. So that would be my answer.
Okay. I would like ¿alguna pregunta en la sala? ¿No? Me gustaría hacer... ¿Hay alguien que quiera hacer alguna pregunta o continúo? Any questions? Well, no questions, so I'll keep asking. I told you. Yeah. Well, as an entrepreneur, if I need to choose an accelerator program, could you give me an advice for choose the right acceleration program for my company?
So I think it's the same as for the investors, which is it depends on what you're doing. So, and it depends on your geography.
Could you repeat?
Sorry, it depends on your geography focus.
Geography,
so,
okay.
Yeah, so if you're in Madrid but you want to target another UK market, that might be sense to move, or on the contrary, if you're UK, you want to target the Spain market. So you have some incubators that are industry focused, so that might be worth for some of the companies. Other are just, you might want to choose an incubator just for its visibility, like SeedCamp, which is the biggest one today in Europe, so you might have bigger visibility from the investors. So I think it depends on what you're looking for and what you need as an entrepreneur.
Yes. Which is the best acceleration program that you know?
Again, it's hard to answer that. So we as Index, we do a lot for the ecosystem in general. So we back some incubators. So we back seed camp
Seed
in
camp,
London.
okay.
So we're very active with them.
Okay.
The family in France. So those are the ones that we backed and we are shareholders of.
Okay.
Regarding accelerators, I think that it's like university and you need to decide what you want to major in. So,
Okay. Good point.
So you need to decide what you want to learn. So if you need to have better marketing skills after that accelerator or better product definition, etc., you should choose that accelerating program. For instance, there is an accelerating program in Israel that is ran by Microsoft.
Okay.
So people that has mainly problems with product definition, when you go out to a Microsoft accelerator, you go out with a better product definition. On the other hand, if the problem is in marketing or team building, they will not help you. You have to remember that accelerator is a very defined point in time with very little money. So you must have in advance to decide what you want to excel there.
I would first ask the question, what's the agenda of the accelerator program, right? Why are they doing this? Do they have special motives? Do they, I mean, is this a marketing operation or is this for business development on their own purpose? Or why are they doing this?
Okay.
And then you ask yourself if their interest and your interest go
Yes.
hand in hand.
It's aligned.
Is aligned.
Okay,
and
great.
if that's the case, then I think makes sense. But before that, you could even ask yourself if you even need an accelerator, right? Because if you cannot answer specifically why you need that specific accelerator and for what you get out of it, then you might not even need it. Right? There's lots of companies that did it without it, right?
Okay.
I think I'd add three quick things. I mean, firstly, I'd be very focused on the quality of the mentorship. So test, you know, who are the mentors going to be? How much time are they going to put in? Secondly, I much prefer accelerators that graduate you, that push you to achieve something and move on. And finally, I would caution startups against becoming accelerator junkies. It looks really bad from an investor perspective. You did one accelerator, then the next accelerator, then the next accelerator. When are you going to become a real company, right?
Okay. For me, it's the mix between money, that the accelerator is run by entrepreneurs and people and good networking for getting more customers, etc. In Spain, we have the B Startup. It's a good acceleration program that we are collaborating. Yeah. Okay, I think we are run out of time. So,
yep, we're out of time. So thank you very
Any
much
closing?
for the fantastic panel. Thank you, all 5 of you guys.